Hello there and welcome along to the channel. It's me, the White Seer, and today we are looking at a Broken Ranks guide to flasking. I hope you're well. I'm having a great day today, and I thought, you know what, this has been a long time coming. I've been threatening to do this for a while, and hopefully this will give you a really comprehensive guide to crafting the flasks that I use to upgrade the gear items in Broken Ranks. So what do you need to know? There are 4 types of flask. There are minor flasks, medium flasks, major flasks, and enormous flasks. Each of these obviously correspond to the 4 main stats: dexterity, knowledge, power, and strength, and also the kind of 3 resource stats, I guess. There'd be your stamina, your mana, and your life, and then there's also a flask of destruction as well. And now this actually adds to overall weapon damage. Really useful for some classes, not so useful for others, but they do exist as well. There are 2 ingredients required for each flask. There's a gathering ingredient and, well, I guess you call it a hunting ingredient, but it's something you collect off of dead bodies basically. And then you need to go and visit a particular NPC, and they generally have 2 types of flasks that they'll help you to make or upgrade. So, for example, in order to make a medium flask, you need to use the minor flask of that corresponding upgraded item, say dexterity, and you would need to use a minor flask of dexterity to make a medium to make a major to make an enormous, for example. I'm going to flash up a really handy chart here which kind of shows you everything, and we are going to run through each flask 1 stat at a time, so there'll be some timestamps below to help you find the ones that you want to find, and yeah, hopefully this will help you to make all those flasks. So I made a lot of currency with this in the early days of the game, and actually the new players now are coming through, they are still selling flasks, so if you do need to make a bit of platinum or gold, then that's a useful thing for you to do as well. So without further ado, let's jump into the flask making. Okay, we're looking at the minor flask of dexterity. So from Trametes, what we actually need to do here in order to find the gathering component is go to the swamp. So I'm going to speed this up and show you the way, and we'll see you over there. Okay, we're in the swamp here, and the component for this flask is swamp weed, and we find that over here. Just up here. Right here. So this whole big patch here, we click on this, and for this particular flask we actually need 4 of these per flask. So I'm going to click those up, and then we'll come back and look at the hunting ingredient for this flask type. Okay, so we have our 4 swampweed. We are now going to head on over to get the hunting ingredient for the minor dexterity flask. And in order to get that, what we want to do here is head over to the castle grounds. And we are looking for undead bone marrow, so just any undead around here should have a chance to drop it. I'm just going to kill these guys, and we actually need 2 of these per flask. So I'm just going to kill some undead here. That was a bit lame. We should be trashing these very quickly. I mean, I might turn my pets off. They're kind of slowing me down a little. Here we go, so undead bone marrow. So we have our 2 right here. Now, we need to speak to Daria to make these, so I'm going to head to Trametes and then I'll show you where she is. Okay, we're back in Trametes here, so the person you want to speak to for the dexterity flask is Daria. She's down here. Let's go and say hello. I need upgrade flasks. Flask of minor dexterity, 4 swampweed, 2 undead bone marrow, and again 500 gold as with all of the minor flasks. Just click that, pop in here, and you can see our flask of minor dexterity right there. Time to look at the minor flask of knowledge now, and again we are heading back to the swamp. let's run there now very quickly, and I'll show you the two components that we need for those. Okay, so we are back in the swamp. Now we need ancient energy, which is actually collected from this area over here. So there's a nasty black widow spider there, which, I mean, most people can fight. If you're a lower level though, and you do want to sneak around the back here, there is an area right here where you don't actually bother that spider, and you can collect the ancient energy here without being interrupted. You need 3 of these per flask of knowledge, minor flask of knowledge, 3 ancient energy. Okay, we have our ancient energy now for the gathering component, which is 3 of these guys, and in order to get the hunting part we actually need 3 venomous fangs, which come from the spiders. So we can just jump in here and attack any of the spiders around, and we should be able to do that without too much hassle. Obviously, be aware of these guys. If you are a low level, they can hurt. Obviously, we're a little bit overpowered for this area, and we have I think we have 3 right there. Don't want these skins. You can save those to sell actually, but yeah, 3 ancient energy here, 3 venomous fangs, and actually what we need to do is go speak to Daria. So follow me back to town. I'll show you where she is. Okay, and we're back in Trametes now, and Daria is this lady down here. Let's just click on her. I need upgrade flasks, and flask of minor knowledge, 3 ancient energy, 3 times venomous fangs, and again 500 gold as with all minor flasks. Done, and you will end up with this lovely white flask of minor knowledge here. Okay, here's one for all the fire mages out there. We are now looking at the minor flask of power. And for this we're going to leave Trametes again. We are going to head up and to the left here, into the hamlet near Trametes. And the first thing that we are going to want to get are spices. Now they are found just over here, this little red patch of flowers. See this spices things popped up? We can click on this. Now for this one we actually do need 5 spices per flask. So I'm going to let this guy run down and grab the spices here, and I'll join you in a minute for the hunting component. Okay, so we have our minor power flask gathering component of spices right here. So from here what we're going to do is just head here to the left and up, and what we're looking for here are Shaman scrolls. Obviously in order to get those we need to kill the goblin Shaman. Sometimes you can see them, like there's a 2-pack there with a goblin shaman in it. If you can't, because most of them will have goblin warriors on the front, you can switch to your inspect mode here, right click on them, and you'll see which packs have the shamans in them. Some have 2 warriors, for example. They are pointless to kill if you are farming this flask. Let's just go up here and kill this guy. We've got a warrior hanging around with this guy, but obviously we're a bit overpowered. We're not going to take much damage from them. And right now, I did get another couple as well earlier. We have 5 spices. 1 shaman scroll is enough. Now, in order to upgrade those items into a flask, try not to run through the fireplace. We are going to head back to Trametes and out the other side, so I will join you when I'm nearing the place. Okay, so we're leaving Trametes here over by the east side to the fisherman village, and the chap we want to speak to is this guy. I'm interested in upgrade flasks. I'd like a flask of minor power, 5 spices, 1 shaman scroll, 500 gold. Done. Okay, this one is for the warriors out there. We are heading off to make a minor flask of strength. And for this we need to go to the Bandit Forest, so stick with me, come along for the ride, and I'll see you over there. Okay, so we're in the Bandit Forest now, and what we need here is spider glue. That can be found right here, and we need 2 of these gathering components per flask. So that's 2 spider glue for each flask of minor strength. I'm going to gather these and we'll be right back. Okay, so we have our spider glue, 2 pieces right here, and the hunting component for minor strength flasks is a Mastiff heart. You can see these guys interspersed with boar, and obviously the hunters around here. So I'm just going to go and attack these. We need 3 of these hearts per flask. There you go, they come up as massive hearts. So there's 2 there. Hopefully we'll get 1 off of this one. Okay, 3. So we should have 2 spider glue, 3 massive hearts. Now in order to make these into a flask, we need to go back to the fisherman village. And it's this guy here that we need to speak to. Interested in upgrade flasks, flask of minor strength, 2 glue, 3 massive hearts, and as per all minor flasks, 500 gold. Done. This one's a lovely deep red colour. Okay, so next up on the list is the minor stamina flask. We are going to head out here for the gathering component, which is Menthalis. We need 4 of these actually per flask. Let's run up here and I'll show you where it is. Come over here into the farmlands, and if we go over here down by the river, Menthalis is right over here. Like I said, we need 4 of these per flask. I'm going to gather these up and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, from our Menthalis gathering spot, we're going to just head over here for the hunting component, which is Vandal blood, and any of these guys up here actually will drop this. I think the swindlers do as well. Let's just check. Hopefully this will be nice and quick. Obviously we're going to let them get a little attack in. Hopefully we'll get 2, because we actually need 2 of these Vandal bloods, which we did get. Let's just check. 4 Menthalis and 2 Vandal blood. Okay, so I'm going to head back to town and we'll go... actually, I'm not going to head to town. We are going to head to Somnus. Okay, you can avoid all these monsters and mobs if you don't want to fight them. So I'm just going to do that. Somnus is right here, and we can talk to him. And right here, 4 Menthalis, 2 Vandal blood, 500 gold. And we get our flask of a minor stamina. So, yep, flask of minor stamina. Done. Right, we are now on the hunt for the materials for the minor mana flask. And for this, we need Valerian is our gathering, and berries, which is our hunting. I'll show you where these are. Head to the fisherman village here, and we shall pop just up here. There's a small patch of flowers just up this way. Right here. And this is the Valerian patch here. So we can just come up here. And for each flask we actually need 4 of these. So I shall click these up and we'll come right back. Okay, we have our 4 Valerian and we are going to get berries. Most players will know where to get berries from already, but if you're one of the few that have managed to dodge Zeds all the time, you get them from these guys. And we need 2 of these berries per flask. So I'm going to go over here and hopefully just killing these two will give us our 2 berries. Having my pets on is probably overkill actually. I should probably turn them off to make it a bit quicker. But we've got our 2 berries. We should have 4 Valerian, 2 berries. And the person that makes this, follow me. We're going to go and see Somnus in the Forlorn Settlement. So we're here, back with Somnus, and we have here Flask of Mana, 4 times Valerian, 2 times berries, 500 gold. Done! We can go into our inventory here and see our Flask of Minor Mana. Next up we have the Minor Flask of a Life, and for this we need to actually head back towards the Forlorn Settlement, up to the bandit. I think it's called the Bandit Forest actually, isn't it? Is it the Bandit Forest? Yeah, so follow me and we'll run there quick. Okay, so we're in the Forlorn Settlement, and our gathering spot for the Minor Flask of Life is right here. It's Marsh-Mallow, and we actually need 3 of these per flask. So I'm just going to gather up the 3 of these, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we've gathered our 3 Marsh-Mallow. For the hunting part of this, we do go indeed to the Bandit Forest, and we basically want to get Liquid of Rush, which we can grab from hunters, we can grab from rascals here, we can get them from the crossbow guys. Heavy Hands doesn't drop them, but a couple of his lackeys do. You tend to get sort of 2 out of that fight. I'm just going to run along here and kill these. We need 3 of these per flask, so that shouldn't take me too long. Just 1 more to kill. Okay, so we have our 3 Liquid of Rush and our 3 Marsh-Mallow, and now we need to go and turn that into a flask. Now where do we do this? We actually have to go all the way back to Trametes, so I'm going to run there, you can follow. Let's talk to her, and we are making a Flask of Minor Life, 3 Marsh-Mallow, 3 times Liquid of Rush, 500 gold. Done, sorted. Let's have a look in here, and there's our flask. Okay guys, we're going to go and look at the Minor Flask of Destruction. In order to go and get the gathering component, we are going to exit Trametes this way. We are going to head past Simon's hut here, and just up here there is a linen field, and we just click on this here and we wait for the bar here to count down, and in order to get the material components for 1 flask we need 2 pieces of linen, so we can leave that here to grab those 2 pieces, and then we'll come back and look at the hunting component for this flask. Okay guys, we're going to look at the hunting ingredient now for a Minor Flask of Destruction. We require 4 mongrel tendons. This is again really easy. We're just outside of Trametes, right next to the linen farm here, which is where we get our gathering ingredient for those flasks. And these dogs here and mongrels, so it doesn't matter whether it's a dog or a mongrel, they will drop the mongrel tendons. I'm just going to jump in here. This is a little bit overkill obviously because I'm a little bit over leveled for these guys. We're probably going to do quite a lot of damage. And finish these off real quick. Now we do need 4 of these per Minor Flask of Destruction. So there's 2, and let's just grab the other 2 here. And what we'll do after that is we'll run straight over to the person that we need to go and see. There we go, 4 mongrel tendons. We have our 2 linen here. Now from here, what we need to do is run down to see Leila. And we'll speak to her, and we'll ask about upgrade flasks. And right here, make a flask of minor destruction for me, 2 times linen, 4 times mutt tendon, 500 gold per minor flask. We do that, and we obtain our flask of a minor destruction. Okay, so moving on to the medium flasks, we are going to start with a medium flask of dexterity here. I'm going to do most of these starting from Lesgar's in Alaril, because most of the people that actually do the upgrades are positioned around here. And we are going to go and grab our gathering component. Now, the first one is for dexterity, which is the foreign stone. And in order to get this one, we kind of need to go underground. So there are 2 ways to go. We can actually go to the shore. But I'm going to actually enter the caves under the towers here and show you from here. Come into here. And the foreign stone can be gathered here. Now for these we need 3 of these per flask. So I'm going to gather those up and then we'll come right back. Okay, so we have our foreign stone here, and we are going to get the hunting component of this. And I'll show you the quickest way to get there. We need seagulls because we're collecting seagull feathers. So follow me, I'll show you what they are. Okay, so we're back out here on the shore, and obviously we need seagull feathers, so I'm going to start just attacking seagulls here. Now we do need 3 of these per flask. Obviously at my level they're relatively easy to kill. The quickest way from here to the druids is actually through this lot and down through the bottom, although there is another way. We're going to attempt to do that without getting caught by any of these wolves, and I shall show you that. This is probably the safest way. Okay, so we are now in the druid grove, but the person we want is actually down here, so we have to fight off a few of these most of the time. Okay, so can you make upgrade flasks? We have a flask of medium dex, please. 1 flask of minor dex, 3 foreign stones, 3 seagull feathers, and now we're paying 1,000 gold. So that's now done. We can go into our inventory here and see our lovely flask of medium dex. Okay, next on our list here is the flask of medium knowledge. So from Lesgar's we are going back into the cave, and we are going to head to nearly where the dexterity one was actually. So follow me, I'll show you where it is. Okay, so when we get here, we're going to just head over to the left. And right here, we should have cave water. Now we need 4 of these per, so I'm going to gather these up. And I'll be right back. Okay, we have our 4, and now we are going for the hunting component of the flask. So, again, follow me and I'll show you where that is. Okay, so we are now back on the shore. Well, it looks like we've got a few things in the way, so I'm going to clear those if I have to. Looks like we can get away with it. And the mobs we're going to have to kill here are the castaways. This is the only place actually on the shore here that you can find them. So grinding out knowledge flasks is a bit of a pain sometimes, because when you get to a slightly higher level, you kill them quicker than they respawn, so you'll have to do a lot of waiting around. Now, we can go back to Zvieya. Okay, once we're back, we can talk to her, ask her about upgrade flasks. Here we are, flask of medium knowledge, 1 times flask of my knowledge, 4 times cave water, and 2 times old books, and again 1,000 gold, as with all medium flasks. Grab that. Just going to run up here so that we don't get caught by any of the mosquitoes again. And check, and here's our flask of medium knowledge. Okay, so on to the medium flask of power. Now this is the furthest pretty much that we have to travel for anyone. So stick with me, I'll take you all the way there, and you can see where we're going to gather our materials from. Okay, so we need to head into the castle dungeon. And down here, this huge glowing circle here, we have remains of magic. So I'm going to click on that. We actually need 2 of these per flask of power. So I'm going to gather these up and we'll come right back. Okay, so we now have our 2 remains of magic. Now the next one, or sorry, the hunting component rather of the flask of power, medium size, is actually bad wolf tendons. So these are basically the white wolves that you see around. Now you can get these on the shore, which would be a good option if you are under level, I think it's under level 35. I'll show you why. Let's head back this way, back to Lesgar's, and I'll show you why. Okay, so from Lesgar's, the best way to get these, the best place to get these in volume, if you need them in volume, is to come along this way, through the crossroads, over into the cold forest. And they're over here. Now, if you're under a certain level, you're gonna, I think it's about 35, you're gonna struggle with the enraged bees because they're quite nasty. So obviously, come this way if you can deal with those. And you'll see bad white wolves littered about. We do need 3 of these per flask, so I'm going to just kill 2 here. And then I'll show you an alternative place to get these if you need to avoid the enraged bees. And from here there is sometimes the option of killing a few here. There's a few up there, there's a few down here. So we can go down here. Now, excuse me, they do litter these in amongst the black wolves as well as the normal grey skin wolves. So obviously use your observe tool and have a look at the packs. So switch to observe, obviously that's 1. This one here has 1 of each in, so you could get another one here if you wanted. Same with this one. Same with this one. So there's an extra 3 there, they're just hiding in big packs of 3 there. Okay, so in order to make this into an actual flask, you need to actually go back to Lesgar's. Okay, so I'm back at Lesgar's now. I'm going to actually head inside. And Miranda is the person you want. You can ask her about upgrade flasks here, and obviously we need our flask of minor power, 2 remains of magic, 3 bad wolf tendons which we have, and 1,000 gold. So let's grab that, and we can go in here and you can see the flask of medium power right there, complete. Okay guys, we're looking at the medium flask of strength now, and we're going to run straight for the gathering material. So from Lesgar's we are going to head towards the shore. Once we're in the shore here, we are going to run across to where Mandu is. And we might have to fight a couple of mobs here because they put them in tricky positions. So this one here, actually we might be able to get away with it. Just here on the beach is the bottle of seawater. It takes quite a long time to actually gather, and we do need 5 of these per medium strength flask. So I'm going to gather those up When we're done, we'll come straight back. Okay, so we actually gathered 6 bottles of seawater. We actually only need 5. So we're going to head back to Lesgar's and then go south into the swamps. Now, we only need 1 of these. However, there's very limited mobs that drop the item we need. When we're in the swamp, the mobs that we need to kill are the Imperials here. There's only 3 of them. Generally, actually there might be 4. 1, 2, 3, and I think sometimes you get another one. But generally I only catch 3 down here. Let's attack those. And we should get an item called the Imperial Spaulder. And we only need 1 of those per flask. So there we go, we've got 1 of those. That looks like this. We've got our 1 flask of minor strength in there already. And we're going to head up to the person that changes these, which is actually Miranda, and she's in Lesgar's. So we're going to go in there now. And Miranda's normally wandering around. And we select this, and yes, we have 5 bottles of seawater and 1 Imperial Spaulder, and 1,000 gold, obviously. That gives us our flask of medium strength. Okay, next up we have the medium flask of stamina. So starting from Lesgar's, we are going to go to our gathering spot. And we need the bark from the tree. Okay, so we're in the caves under the marsh here, and we're going to head towards the exit. Obviously you can come in through the shore exit as well, but all of these things here, so this is the closest one for us, the Aegustahephium bark. You can just find a spot here, and we actually need 3 of these per flask, so I'm going to gather those up and then we'll come back for the hunting / killing bit. Okay, so we've gathered our bark for the medium stamina flask, and we are now going to head off to grab the hunting part. Now for this we need to kill workers and gather 3 worker hearts. So we are going to head up to Vandal's estate. This is the quickest way, I believe. Okay, so once we're in Vandal's estate, we are going to come across here to the storehouse. And we'll find a bunch of workers here. Now, only 3 of these hearts per flask. So we'll just start laying waste to these guys. And as you can see, we have our 1 flask of minor stamina here. We've got 4 of these. Bear in mind that these are quite heavy, the Aegustahephium bark. And 3 worker hearts is what we actually need. And it's actually Aegustahephium that we need to go and talk to. Okay, so once we're in the druid village, Aegustahephium's actually over here. Upgrade flasks. Flask of medium stamina, 1 flask of minor stamina, 3 times bark, and 3 times work hearts, and 1,000 gold. Done. And as you can see, we now have our flask of medium stamina right there. Right, so now we're going to gather the materials for the flask of medium mana. And in order to do that, the first thing we need is to gather some glowing fish. We need 4 of these for the flask. Okay, we have some company here already, so just gonna click on this, and we actually need 4 of these, as I stated before. Be aware that this is a red area, you can get attacked, so normally I turn my pets off if I'm going to leave this to gather whilst I go off and do other things. Once I've got 4 of these, I'll come right back. Okay, so we've gathered our 4 lots of glowing fish, and actually quite luckily the hunting material for the medium flask of mana is mosquito blood, and as you can see there's a whole bunch right in here. There's some red ones that will attack us anyway, but you can just gather any. We actually only need 2 of these. Then we will run off to the person that makes the flask for us, and that is yeah, in the Druid village. Sorry, yeah, that's in the Druid village. It's Aegustahephium. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's what it looks. Aegustahephium. Yeah, upgrade flasks. Flask of medium mana here, 1 flask of minor mana, 4 times glowing fish, 2 times mosquito blood. Sold. And now we have our flask of medium mana. Let's go make ourselves a flask of medium life now. And in order to gather this, we need to get some Leaf of Night. Now that is basically in the wolf den, and I find it easier to go in this way from the lakeside. So we're going to run in here, go into the wolf den. We're going to have a few mobs here to kill in order to get to the patch. Actually, here's our guildie Mist Shot, who's grabbing some stuff here. And we need to just kind of hustle our way in here. We're going to get attacked again. And here is what we need, the Leaf of Night. So we are going to gather 2 of these per flask. Okay, we have our 2 Leaf of Night, and we are now going to head out to the lake again. And what we need next is a Black Wolf Bones. Now, the best place to collect these is in the cold forest. There is an area over at the shore, a secondary place, but the black wolves are more prevalent over here. There's generally a few around here, however there's quite a few people farming them at the moment, so we will run around. Here's some here, they normally come in packs of 2 or 3. I'm just going to grab these, and unfortunately we do need 4 sets of bones per flask. So happy grinding for this one. Okay, so we've got our Black Wolf Bones, we've got the Leaf of Night, and we've got our minor flask of life, and we are now going to head back to Lesgar's Inn, or near enough, because the person that we need to speak to in order to upgrade this flask is Veela. Now, she is I guess she's a water nymph. Or just a lady in the water. I think she's a nymph. I can't remember. So, head over the bridge. We need upgrade flasks, and we want this flask of medium life here, 1 flask of minor life, 2 times Leaf of Night, 4 times Black Wolf Bones, 1,000 gold. Done. And in here we have our flask of medium life. Okay, time to grab us an upgrade to a medium flask of destruction. Now we are going to run off and harvest the first bit, which is the Trametes, or Trametes, which is over in the Druid village. And the things you want are these guys right here. And we need 3 of these. It's quite a small gathering time, which is great. We need 3 of these per flask upgrade. So I'm going to gather these up and we'll come right back. Okay, so we've gathered up our Trametes, and now what we need to do is go and do the hunting part of the medium destruction flask upgrade. And in order to do that, we do need to take a bit of a trip. Okay, so I'm now in the castle courtyard outside, and these guys, the Fallen Knights, they're the suppliers of the Fallen Knight Hearts. So we're going to start killing those. And we actually need 3 of these per flask upgrade. Okay, so we've got our ingredients, and the person that's going to do the flask upgrade for us is Veela. She is the water nymph that's basically outside of Lesgos, in the little pool there by the cave. And we're going to speak to her. And we're going to select Flask of Medium Destruction, Flask of Minor Destruction required, 3 times Trametes, and 3 times Fallen Knight Hearts, and 1,000 gold. Okay, that's done. And here's our Flask of Medium Destruction. Okay guys, it's time to upgrade our medium flasks into major flasks, and we are going to start with Dexterity. Now, for Dexterity, we need to gather Khemenak lava. I'm starting from Khemenak actually, because quite a lot of the upgrading merchants are actually in this area. Although we are now travelling slightly further afield to grab the materials. So we're going to come into the cold forest here. And the lava is actually gathered just down here. Khemenak lava, and we need 2 of those per flask of medium dexterity. So I'm going to gather those up. They take quite a little time, and after that we'll come straight back. Okay, we've gathered our Khemenak lava, and we are now going to hunt the materials required, the killing bit, and for that we need dragon servant spikes. Now this is quite a distance to travel, so I'm going to speed this bit up, and then we'll talk when we get to the other side. Okay, so we are in the dragon cave now, and we need to kill these dragon servants. And we actually need 5 of the dragon servant spikes that they drop. Okay, so we've got our dragon servant spikes, and then we're going to head back to Khemenak now, quickest way possible, and then I'll show you the guy that does the upgrade for you. Okay, so we're back at Khemenak, and we need to see the first priest actually. So he's up here in the Temple of Stone. Enter the temple, and he stood right over here. And we are going to ask him about upgrade flasks. Flask of Major Dexterity, 1 Flask of Medium Dex, 2 Khemenak Lava, 5 times Dragon 7 Spikes, and now we're paying 2,000 gold. So that's done. Okay, next up we are going to be looking at the Flask of Major Knowledge, and for that we need to go and gather some mushrooms. And so we're going to head into the cold forest here. So these are Nanacatl mushrooms, and they should be right here. Now for each one of these we need 5 lots of this per flask. They are quite a long gather time, so make yourself a cup of tea and join me after this. Okay, so we've gathered our 5 units of Nanacatl mushrooms, and now we are going to go and do the hunting or killing part of the major flask of knowledge. And in order to do that, we actually need lizard brains. We need 2 of those per flask, so I'm going to speed this bit up, and I'll talk to you when we get to the place. Yeah, so what we actually want here is these mobs, saurians. There's plenty more down here. You can find them in groups of 3 as well, so if you've got an AoE, definitely worth bringing that along. Get stuck in, kill these guys, and you'll receive lizard brains. And again, you need 2 per flask. So we got 3 lizard brains there. Let's just check them out. We've got a couple of bat brains as well. Keep those. Because they'll be useful later on. Yeah, 3 of those. So all we need to do now is go back to town, grab our flask of medium knowledge, which we're going to upgrade, and then I'll show you where to go after that. Okay, so picked up my flask of medium knowledge here, got my 5 lots of mushrooms, got at least 2 lizard brains, and we're going to go and see the first priest. So into the Temple of Stone in Khemenak. Up to the first priest here. Can you make upgrade flasks? Flask of major knowledge. Don't forget these cost 2,000 gold each now as well. And that is now done. Okay, now we are making the major flask of power. So we are upgrading this from a medium flask of power. So we need 1 of those. And we need to gather some raw Mantilum root. And we need 4 of those. So I'm going to go back to the cold forest. And we are heading towards the bear cave, which is just up here. And obviously, I'll speed this bit up anyway, and you'll see where this route could be found. Okay, so at this part here in the alley, there is a small little section here, sort of jutting out, and this is where we get our raw Mantilum root from. Anyone that does the XP scroll tasking will know that this is one of the areas where the colds can congregate, and you have to come to it anyway. So yeah, this is the place. We need 4 of these. I'm going to gather these up, and then we'll come right back. Okay, so we've gathered up the raw Mantilum root that we need. Now we need to leave the bear cave. I'm going to get attacked along the way because these things do respawn relatively quick. I'm going to get rid of all of this, and then I'll meet you back on the outside. Okay, so we're now clear of the bear cave ramp there in the cold forest, and we need to gather up some forest spirit powder. Now, this, as the name might suggest, comes from forest spirits, and you'll find these over near the bridge into the Orc Forest. And we actually need to gather 3 of these per flask. So I'm just going to set about these guys. And I should make short work of these. And once I've gathered that, we'll go and upgrade the flask. Okay, so we've got our 3 forest spirit powder. We've got our 4 raw Mantilum root that we need. And we should also have our flask of medium power. Now, in order to upgrade this, we need to go and speak to Noel, and he is hanging around outside of Khemenak in the little guard station bit. So we'll just walk this way. I guess it's a he. Looks like a he. Oh, definitely is a he. And we can ask him, and again, these cost 2,000 gold. And that, right there, is our flask of major power. Okay, we're looking at the major flask of strength now, and for this we need to head back to the bear cave. So I'm going to run there, and I will show you where to find the aragonite that we need. Yep, so catch me in a sec. Okay, so we've headed up to the northeastern side of the bear cave here, in a place called Aragonite Cavern, rather, chamber, and yeah, we can actually get it just outside here. Now we do need 2 of these per flask, so just going to grab those very quickly, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we've grabbed our 2 pieces here, and I'll be very careful with this stuff. It does weigh 20, it is very heavy. If you're making a lot of them, make sure you clear your inventory before you come in here, and be prepared to be doing lots of trips. Now from here we are going to get stuck fighting these, and we didn't really want to. We'll sort these out, and then we are going to head down to everybody's favourite, the enraged bees in Cold Forest, as we need to gather those. Okay, so we've left the bear cave. We're running back down to the southwest corner of the Cold Forest. Everybody should know these things. I mean, they're dotted around. There's some enraged bees up here as well, but you'll know them as the major level gating aspect of Cold Forest, as they're all down here near the entrance, stopping you from actually getting through and going anywhere and enjoying yourself. We do need to gather 4 of these. They are level 30, obviously. 4 of these per flask. So I'm going to grab those up, and we'll come back straight after. Okay, so we now have our 4 bee venom, 1 flask of medium strength, and 2 aragonite, and we are going to head over to the area just outside of Khemenak. And once we've reached here, we need to speak to Noel, who's this chap right here. Do you know anything about upgrade flasks? You better, because we've got all the stuff here. 2,000 gold as well, don't forget, to make a flask of major strength. And there it is right there. Okay, we are now looking at the flask of major stamina, and for this we are heading back to the bear cave. And we are looking for cold water. That's cold with a KH, obviously. And I'm going to go jump into the bear cave, and I'll speed this up a bit so you can see where the water's located. I'm going to have to kill quite a few mobs to get there, so here we go. Okay, so we fought our way through to the northeast part of the bear cave, to the cold water, which is here. And we need 4 of these per flask, so I'm going to grind up that, and then we'll come back and discuss where to go for the hunting part. Okay, so we have the cold water, and we are going to exit the bear cave as quickly as possible before everything respawns, and then follow me and I'll show you where we're going next. Okay, so we're now free of the bear cave and the bear ramp. And what we want to go and do now is kill a bunch of poachers, because we need to poach a poison. And they are normally hanging out down here in the southwest corner of Cold Forest, in amongst the angry bees. And we're going to kill a bunch of those guys. We actually only need 2 of these per, so I'm just going to see if I can grab that just here. Okay, so we've got our 2 poacher poison in this little bottle like this. I'm just going to get rid of some of this other junk here. And then the person we actually want to speak to upgrade this flask is Nearlin. Now, Nearlin is up here and inside Gnarl's estate. Can you make upgrade flasks? Flask of major stamina. again, 2,000 gold. And there we have it, right there. Okay, let's take a look at the major flask of mana next. So for the gathering component for this one, we are running up to the Orc Forest, which you'll see. Just stick with me and we'll be there in a sec. Okay, now when you're up here, we do need to go up the way here where the white tigers tend to chill out. If you're lucky, there's other people farming up here. If not, you have to kill them. Okay, once you've managed to get past the white tigers there, the Panari is just over here. So we can start gathering that. It's quite a short gather time, but we are needing 3 of those per major flask of mana. So just going to collect these up, and yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so we've successfully gathered the 3 Panari. I'm going to run down here very, very quickly, hopefully, so I don't get caught by the white tigers respawning, because they do respawn up on here relatively quick. And then what we need to do is head out of here back into the coal forest. And our hunting part, or killing ingredient, depends on how you want to call it, is actually the druid necklaces, and they kind of hang out all around here. So I'm just going to start a fight with one of these. We need 3 of the necklaces in order to make a flask. So I'll kill these and then I'll be right back. Okay, so we have 3 of the druid necklace and 3 of the Panari. And for this one, we're going to go over to the west here to the Nars estate area. And we are going to talk to Neilin again. Ask about upgrade flasks right here, and yeah, 1 flask of medium mana, 3 Panari, 3 druid necklace, 2,000 gold. And we should have our flask of major mana. There we go. Okay, next up we have the major flask of life, and for this we are going to head up to the Orc Forest for our gathering component. Follow me, I'm going to speed it up, and I'll see you right there. Okay, we're in the Orc Forest. We're going to head over here, and thankfully we don't have to go through the white tigers for these. We just have to go here and collect orc herb, and we need 5 of those. I would suggest if you are up here and you have PvP switched on, that you turn your pets off, and then just AFK this. Like I said, we need 5 of these per flask. So I'm going to gather these up and I'll be right back. Okay, so we've now gathered our orc herb. In fact, we've gathered too much, but I do use orc herb to open the portal to Ivraville. So, gathered that. Now what we need is the hunting component, and for that we actually need resin. We get these from the tree churs, I think they're called, in the game, but they're basically the tree men. And the closest source for those is actually in the underground tunnels, so or the caves rather. So yeah, follow me. I'll show you where they are, and we'll gather some of that. Okay, so we're in the caves under the marsh. Now you can either do Geomorph, which is in the Golem cave, if you need to, or you can come down here and kill these guys. And like I said before, we need 2 of these per flask. Okay, so we've got our 2 resin, we've got more than the 5 orc herb that we need, and we've got our flask of medium life. So from here we are going to run back to Khemenak. Once we are back at Khemenak, we are going to run up to see a rental. There's this chap over here. Ask him about upgrade flasks, and the flask of major life is right here. 1 flask of medium life, 5 orc curve, 2 resin, 2,000 gold. Done. And there it is, right there. Okay guys, we're looking at the flask of major destruction next. So we've got our medium destruction flask, obviously, that we're going to upgrade. And for this, we need burning water is our gathering component. And in order to get that, we need to go into the hole. Now there are 2 entrances to the hole. One is in the actual town of Khemenak. It's not the one you want this one here. You just walk over here to this little nubbin, stick it out, and burning water's here. Now we do need 4 of these per flask upgrade, so I'm going to gather these up and we'll come back and go on the hunt. Okay, so we have our 4 burning water. Now we need to go and do our hunting part, and for the flask of medium destruction we need bat brains. So we need 2 bat brains per flask upgrade. Follow me, I'll show you where the nearest ones are. If you've got some in your deposit already, then obviously use them, because we are basically going back underground. So we're back in the caves, and the bat brains themselves are littered all over the place actually. So you can find them dotted around in amongst the rats in here and the mosquitoes here. I'm going to show you the best place for bats, because you'll probably be looking at getting aqua pets in the future, collar tasks and things like that. If you go into the Forgotten Corridor here, there are tons of them. This is the best place to farm bats. We actually only need 2, so I'm going to grab those real quick, and then I will take you back to where we do this flask upgrade. Okay, we've just arrived back in Khemenak, and the person that's going to do the flask upgrade for destruction is a rental, and he is over here. Can you make upgrade flasks? Flask of major destruction. We need a medium destruction flask, obviously. 4 burning waters, 2 bat brains, and 2,000. And we can pop in here and have a look. And here is our flask of major destruction. We are now looking at the enormous flask of Dexterity, and for this we need a major flask of Dexterity, obviously, to upgrade. And the gathering component for this one is the Bones of the Fallen. We need 4 of these. So head out of Garrison. We're going to head to the Frozen Lake. Avoid these mobs if we can. Run into the abandoned tower. Go down this trapdoor here. And then we are going to go just right in the corner here, and Bones of the Fallen are here. Now we need 4 of these per flask, so I'm going to gather up the 4 we need, and then we'll get on to the hunting component. Okay, so we've gathered up the Bones of the Fallen we need. We've left the tower. We're heading back towards the garrison, and the hunting component for this is actually Orc Shamans. We need Shaman heads. We need 3 of those per flask upgrade. The quickest way to get those is actually to exit the garrison on the south side. Go down to Demortha Cliff. Once in the Orc Forest, obviously we want to be looking around for Shaman. Looks like somebody might be farming them. There's a few here. Okay, so like I said, we need 3 Shaman heads. I'm going to just grab the rest of these, and we'll go and get the flask made. Yeah, head back to the garrison here, and we want to speak to Enna. Anna is on the outside of the garrison to the northeast side. Do you know anything about upgrade flasks? Flask of enormous dexterity. 3,500 gold this time though, don't forget. So they look like that. Okay guys, next up we have the enormous flask of knowledge. And for that we need falling dust. And we need 3 of these per flask. And this can be found in the frozen lake area. I'm just going to avoid these lumpos here. I hate killing lumpos. Purely because my damage is not very high on Pierce style with this character. But the evolving dust is right here. And like I said, we need 3 of these. So I'm going to go ahead and gather these up. And we'll come back for the hunting part of the flask. Okay, for the enormous knowledge flask hunting part, we actually need to collect Blutter Fangs. And we need 4 of these. And now there's a couple of places where these spawn. I'm going to try and show you both. One's, well, it's further to get to, but it's actually easier to get to. The other one is slightly more difficult to get to. But if you've got the ability to go and collect the falling dust already, you shouldn't have problems getting to either of these places. Okay, so I'm in the bear cave, and there's a group of Blutter right here. So if you can get past the grizzlies, which again you should be able to because you can collect falling dust, you'll have a character that can come up here and do this. And of course these are for enormous flasks, so you're looking at ranks 10 to I think it's 12 actually is the top. But yeah, ranks 10 to 12. You do have Vampiria in here as well, so be careful not to start killing too many of those. But yeah, clearly labelled here, Blutter. Impacts are 3. And they're going to be relatively easy for you to kill at this stage. So this is the first location, and I'll show you the second. Okay, so inside the Forgotten Corridor, you go pretty much to the end, and just on this little northern sort of thing here, there are also Blutter. So there's a few groups here, not massive amounts, less likely to be able to farm them in here, but if you've got an ult that's trying to level or something like that, and you want to just come down here to grab some Blutter, or if you're farming bat brains for one of the element requirements for the aquapets or collars, then obviously this is the place to go. Actually, I'm not sure whether the collar requires bat brains, so don't take my word for that. But certainly one of the aquapets does require quite a lot of them. Yeah, so in order to make this, just got to make sure I've got enough fangs here. We've also picked up all of this other rubbish, so I'll just get rid of that. We need to go back to garrison, so I'll meet back there. Okay, so back at garrison, the person that's going to upgrade our knowledge flask is Enna, and again 1 flask of major knowledge required for this, 3,500 gold, 3 falling dust, 4 Blutter Fangs. There we go. Here we go, there's our flask of enormous knowledge. We're now on to the enormous flask of power, and for this we need asphodel fruit. This is found just to the southwest of the garrison. We need 3 of these per flask, So I'll show you where they are, and we'll just collect them quickly. Just right here. I'll collect up 3 of these, and then we'll come back and go for the hunting part. For the hunting part of the enormous flask of power, we need to go collect spheres of power. We need 4 of those. We collect these from cold priests, and as far as I know, there's only really one place that we can farm these efficiently, and that's in the bear cave. So I'll run there, show you where they are, and we'll get this flask made. Okay, we're now in the area where the priests are, so you can pick them out. They're in groups of 2, 3. We need 4 of the spheres of power in order to make this flask. So I'm just going to grab those. Okay, so we have asphodel fruits, 5 spheres of power, and our major flask. So now all we got to do is go back to Garrison, and we're speaking to Daron in order to make this flask. So I'll go back to Garrison and I'll show you where he is. Okay, we're back in Garrison and we want to go into the living quarters here, and Daron is stood over in the corner here. And we're going to ask him for the flask of enormous power. We need a major power flask, obviously, 3 asphodel fruit, 4 spheres of power, and 3,500 gold. Done. And there's our flask of enormous power. Okay, we're back in Garrison and we are looking at the enormous flask of strength. For this, obviously, we need a major flask of strength, and we're looking at the gathering component now, which is Claws of the Wild. And we're going to head out of Garrison straight into the cave over the Garrison. I think on the list it just says Cave Demortha Garrison, and it's actually quite hard to miss. Most people will just run past this and it never flicks up. But you want the recess area right here, and we need to gather these. Now we need 2 of these per enormous flask. I'm going to gather these up and we'll come back and look at the hunting component. Okay, we have our Claws of the Wild, 2 of those, and we're now going to continue on with the enormous flask of strength hunting component, and for that we very easily need bear hearts. We need 5 of these, however, so I'm going to go gather those up, and the closest place to here to get those is thankfully not all the way into the bear cave, just outside Khemenak, which is a couple of screens away. Again, we need 5 of these, so I'm going to gather the 5 up, and we'll come back and I'll show you where to actually make the flask. Okay, so we've gathered up the components we need, and we need Daron for this. He's located in the living quarters here, up on the right hand side. And we have our flask of major strength, 2 Claws of the Wild, 5 bear hearts, and 3,500 gold. And there we have our enormous flask of strength. Okay, we're looking at the enormous flask of stamina next, and for this we need a carrion beetle. We need 6 of these, and we get these from the cave in the mountains. I'm going to take you there now. I'll speed this bit up, and when we get there I'll show you where it is. Okay, it's in this cave, and right at the back here should be carrion beetles. Now we need 6 of these, which is actually the most for any flask type per flask. So I'm going to gather these up, and we'll come back and look for the bit we have to collect from killing. Okay, we've collected up our carrion beetles, and the next part is the hunting part, and we need to collect tiger tendons for this. We need 2 of those. So the easiest place to get these guys is I'll switch my pets off actually. Is to head down through the cliff area here. We'll see a few straight away. There we go, white tigers right here. So you can kill these guys, and you want 2 tendons per flask. Okay, once you've killed your tigers, got your tendons, just make sure that you have 2 tendons and 6 beetles. You want to go to see Tinma. He is hanging around in the garrison, he walks about. Here he is, right here. Upgrade flasks, please. 1 flask of major stamina, 6 carrying beetles, 2 tiger tendons, 3,500 gold. Done. And there we have the flask of enormous stamina. This is for the enormous flask of mana. For the gathering component, we are going to head to the plateau, and we are going to collect harpy feathers. We need 3 of these per flask. You can gather harpy feathers from just in here. And again, we need 3 of these. I'll collect those up, and then we'll go and do the hunting part. Okay, we've collected our harpy feathers that look like this. We need 3 of those. I've collected 4. And for the hunting part, we need to get burning moonshine. We need 4 of those, and we get those from killing colds. Okay, so once we get to the forest here, we go up to where the bear cave is, and there should be a bunch of colds stood around outside. We can kill these guys to get the moonshine we need. There we go, burning moonshine. Again, we need 4 of these guys for each flask. So I'm going to gather those up. Should just be 1 more pack, and then we'll show you where to upgrade this flask. Okay, we're back in the garrison, and the person we want here is Tinma. He's wandering around. Normally goes up to see Eric every now and then, and comes back round to the fire. Upgrade flask, please. Enormous mana. Again, we need a major mana flask. 3 harpy feathers, 4 burning moonshine, and 3,500 gold. That should give us our flask of enormous mana. Okay, we're looking at the enormous flask of life. For this, obviously, we need to upgrade a major flask of life. And we need Enoki. We need 4 of those, and they are located in the frozen lake. Just as you enter over here on the left-hand side. Again, 4 of these. We're going to gather these up, and then I'll go on to the hunting part. Okay, we've gathered the Enoki, and we are heading for the hunting component now, which are orc amulets, which obviously we get from orcs. You can kill any orcs here. I mean, there's some champions here as well, so it's always worth having a look for those. Let's just kill these guys. Didn't bring my pets because they slow me down. We need three of these per flask, so I'm just going to grab that, and then we'll go and convert the flask up. Okay, when we have our materials, we come back to the garrison, and we need to talk to this chap. I think it's Hunkwile or Hunkwil, and he can upgrade our flask of enormous life from the major life flask for Enoki and 3 orc amulets for the price of 3.5 grand. So that's done, and we have our flask of enormous life right here. Okay, last on our list we have the enormous flask of destruction. For this we need to gather 5 Panaceae or Panaceae roots, depends on how you want to pronounce it. I don't know why they can't just say pine roots, and it's literally just out of the garrison to the south, and we can gather these. We need 5 of these per flask, so I'll grab these and then we'll do the hunting part. Okay, so we've gathered up our roots, and the last part of the enormous Flask of Destruction upgrade that we need are Cursed Claws. You get them from Vampiria. And the best known place for these guys is down in the Bear Cave. So I'm going to head there now, and we'll do some killing. And we only need 2 of these per flask, so we'll get that done. Okay, so once you're in the Bear Cave, you're going to basically go around this, head south, and Vampiria are mixed in with Blutter around here, so just make sure that you're killing the right things. Otherwise you're going to end up with Blutter Fangs rather than Cursed Claws. And like I said before, we only need 2 of these per flask, so we might have got 2 just then, which we did. Let's just make sure that we have 5 of those, 2 of those. Perfect. I'm going to go back to the garrison now, and I'll show you how to upgrade the flask. Okay, back in garrison, and we need to go speak to Hunkwell, who's right here next to the fire. As always, Flask of Enormous Destruction, 1 Flask of Major Destruction, 5 roots, 2 Cursed Claws, 3.5 grand. Done. And then we have our, in amongst all the rubbish we just picked up, we have our Flask of Enormous Destruction. Okay, just a couple of tips before I leave this video here. If you're going after the hunting component from something, and it's typically hanging around in small packs or singles, it's worth going for something that can kill them extremely fast. I main a voodoo, so for me I get to hit first, but let's just say you're making minor mana flasks, for example, and Zeds drop the berries that you need, turn your pets off, jump in there, literally super quick, 1 hit, auto kill, and then get straight onto the next one. It's going to shorten the amount of time. You don't want your pets casting buffs every 5 seconds. Literally just run in here, single target these guys, and that's going to save you a lot of time. The opposite is also true if you're going after something that you require large packs to kill. For example, if you're making minor dex flasks, and you have somebody that can attack in an AoE fashion, go after the biggest amount that you can get, so packs of 5 for example. Jump in there with your AoE class, hammer them with AoE, and again, that's going to save you a lot of time. My dog's going absolutely crazy here on the amount of debuffs that we need for these guys, but just run in there, kill as many as you can, as fast as you can. We've got a dodgy guy in the middle here. And that's going to give you more output, obviously, for your time. So 1, 2, 3, 4 bone marrow off of that 1 pack. So that's enough for 2 flasks. And again, that's going to save you a bit of time as well. And lastly, just a couple more quick tips. Make sure that you've got storage if you're going to make flasks en masse. I mean, I've got 30,000 in my last depot here. That's already full. It's full because I'm currently in the process of making 800 minor dex flasks for Ivreval running over the event weekend that's coming up. So I mean that's full already. I think I'm having to put bone marrow in a different store. So yeah, don't be shy on your storage amounts. And lastly, before I go, don't forget that anything that you have left over, if we go in here, I did a quick search for wolf, you can sell wolf tendons and wolf bones. So the raw materials, even if you're not into making loads of flasks, can actually also net you some cash. So don't be shy, get out there, grab some mats, keep hold of everything and sell what you don't need. That's everything from me. I hope you found the guide helpful. Don't forget to subscribe for more stuff, and leave us a like if you did find it helpful. I'd very much appreciate it. And have some fun out there. Go and flask up, upgrade your gear, and have fun, guys.